So when most people go on a diet or start eating healthier, they'll often completely stop eating foods they enjoy, like pizza, because they're bad for you. Now, that may work for some people, but if you're like me, the first week may go all right, the second week may go okay too, but that third week, a pizza relapse is usually waiting to happen.
Hey, we gotta film that intro.
So in today's video, I'm going to show you the 3 healthiest ways that I like to incorporate pizza into my diet, even when I'm trying to lose weight. And as someone who has lost over 80 pounds in the past 10 years or so, I think one of the best ways to start eating healthier is just to ask yourself, what foods do I already enjoy? Then you got to figure out, how can I incorporate those in healthier ways? And if you know how to cook, it's honestly like a cheat code. So let's start with technique number 1, which isn't even cooking. You're actually gonna need a leftover slice of pizza. Let's break it down.
So one large slice of New York style pizza, it's gonna be hard to estimate, but there are likely around, if not more, than 400 calories in one slice. Now, if you dab off the excess oil and just stick to one slice, not all that bad. But I don't know about you, but pizza is an absolute bare minimum of 2 slices, but more likely a 3 to 4 slice occasion, which can quickly turn into a high density caloric meal. So this technique is about how can we make this healthy but still scratch the pizza itch. Well, instead of 3 slices, I'm going to stick to 1 slice, but add 4 ounces of grilled chicken and some lightly dressed greens, and turn this into a pizza, chicken, and salad sandwich. So first, let's get 2 sides of the bread. So fold the pizza over past the crust, and then slice off that little triangle. Now fold this in half and cut the pizza in half, and that little triangle we cut off should help cover the gap up perfectly. Now let's heat the pizza up. So set a pan over medium heat and add that pizza to the pan, and let that bottom start to crisp up first. Now, once it's starting to crisp, add a little spritz of water to the pan, which is going to start to steam, and then throw a lid over the top to help melt the cheese. Now, once starting to melt, this is a good opportunity to dab off some of that excess oil, you may as well. Then go ahead and add the grilled chicken and dressed arugula. Now we're going to top the sandwich up and kind of let this all crisp up and steam up as well. And after about a minute or 2, I realized I forgot my pepperoncini, so I quickly sliced those up and added that before pressing that sandwich down. Now, you just remove that from the pan, and we have this beautifully crispy pizza sandwich ready to be devoured.
Now, obviously, we haven't done any magic here. It's portion control at the end of the day. We're eating 1 slice instead of 2 or 3, but we have added a lot of grilled chicken in there, which is a lot more protein, and that's gonna make you a lot more full than if you were just to eat some plain cheese slices. Not to mention, what is special here is this thing is just flat out delicious. So the first time I did this, I actually wasn't trying to be healthy or anything. I was traveling for work, got back to the hotel late one night, ordered a couple slices of pizza and a chicken Caesar salad. Both were mediocre at best, and I was like, I'm gonna make a sandwich out of these, and I was like, oh, this is so freaking good. And then now, if I have a slice of pizza left over, I'll often do this, and it's a great way. This will fill you up so much faster than if you just did eat a couple of pieces. We got a bunch of chicken in there, a bunch more protein. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. This is the easiest one, but the next 2 techniques are literally baby steps up in difficulty. So let's walk into technique number 2.
Technique number 2 is the pita pizza. Now, this is a similar idea to number 1 in terms of portion control, as 1 pita is typically around 200 or so calories, but instead of wrapping it or stuffing it, you have all this surface area for high protein and lower calorie toppings. Now, you could go the conventional route, tomato sauce, cheese, pepperoni, but I actually think this technique best shines when you think outside the box. So I do have a full video documenting what I call the pita pizza construct with my preferred flatbread, sauce, and topping ideas, so definitely check that out if you haven't, but let me do a quick rendition here. To start, toss the flatbread down on an aluminum baking sheet, and then add 50 grams of plain, non-fat yogurt and a sprinkle of za'atar over the top. The yogurt may sound a little weird, but trust me, it's quite good. Next, I'm going to hit this with a couple dots of harissa paste for some spiced. Now, I have these meatballs that I made with lean ground beef and some lamb that I just sliced up and added those on. And then lastly, I'm going to layer in some fresh mozzarella, feta cheese, and some thinly sliced red onions. Now, we're going to toss this entire thing under the broiler until it's crisp and the cheese is melted, only 5 or so minutes. And now we're going to pull this back out. Now I love adding fresh toppings, so I'm gonna hit this with some diced tomato, a little bit of shaved lettuce, and some fresh dill, and then finally just a tiny little capful of olive oil. This is super crunchy, super flavorful. Let's eat.
Again, I'll throw the macros on screen, but here we have technique number 2. Now this technique is another great one. Again, for me, I really more use this for leftovers and kind of get creative with the toppings, not really looking to replicate a classic, pizza, sausage, or like pepperoni or anything like that. I think this is where this one shines, and this specific flavor combination, you've got to give this a try. I'll link up the recipe. But that being said, technique number 1 and number 2 may or may not satisfy your craving to eat an entire pizza by yourself. And for me, that's what technique number 3 is for. Let's break it down.
Technique number 3 is the high protein pizza dough and thoughtfully placed toppings, aka don't go overboard with that cheese. So one dough is 371 calories per pizza with 24 grams of protein. Now, a New York style dough of the same size is typically 442 calories and just 13 grams of protein. And if you've seen my pizza video, I've actually tweaked the flour a bit here and now use 3 parts bread flour with 1 part of this keto flour mix from King Arthur, which has a ton of protein in it as it contains whey among some other ingredients. To make the dough, it couldn't be easier. Set a bowl over a scale and add 150 grams of the bread flour, 50 grams of the keto flour mix, 4 grams of salt, 4 grams of instant yeast, and 170 grams of warm water before mixing that together into a shaggy mass. Now, this is an 85% hydration dough because I find that flour can absorb more water than normal and it doesn't end up too wet. Once this is in a soggy mess, just place a cover over the top and let it rest for 20 minutes. During this time, the dough is going to relax and now it can be kneaded into a nice tight dough ball. Once that's kneaded, just let it rise for 2 to 3 hours where it should double in size. Once doubled, spread some of that protein flour mix on the bench and then separate this into 2 even-sized balls, which are going to make up the personal pizzas. Lastly, just toss a towel over the top and we're going to let these rest for another 45 to 60 minutes. To stretch this out, just flip the dough over and use your hands, just gently work it into a fairly thin pizza. I like doing around 10 inches in diameter. Now, we just need to add our toppings, which today I'm doing a 3-cheese pizza. So first, layer 75 grams of the tomato sauce of your choice, and now let's do the cheese. So first, I have 2 servings or 56 grams of fresh mozzarella. Next, 1 serving of some dollops of non-fat ricotta cheese. And then lastly, 14 grams of freshly grated Parmesan Reggiano over the top. And I also did add a couple of cranks of black pepper too. Lastly, slide this whole thing into the oven for 4 to 6 minutes. Now we're just looking for that cheese to kind of melt beautifully and that crust to start get a little brown around the edges. But while that's in the oven, we're going to prep a quick garlic butter sauce. And 1 minute before the pizza is done, I'm going to pull it back out, sprinkle some fresh minced basil over the top, and hit the crust with that garlic butter sauce before tossing the whole thing back in the oven for 1 to 2 more minutes. Lastly, pull it out and we are slicing and enjoying. Let's eat.
All right, everyone, so here we have technique number 3, and this is actually the second pizza. We just got done filming the taste test and the outro on the other one and realized I forgot to press record on the camera, so I'm having to redo this. So I'm not gonna eat more pizza because I literally just had 5 slices of the other one. But it's a super great pizza. All we did was really add a little bit more protein into the dough, so it's gonna feel more filling for you. And then, just go easier with the cheeses. We still fit a bunch on here, but we're intentional with how we're using them, not going overboard. And then you still have some garlic butter crust to get those classic flavors in there. But anyway, these recipes will be up on my website if you guys want to follow them exactly. But hopefully you just gain some inspiration around the techniques on ways that you can, incorporate pizza and just make it a little bit healthier, which is one of the great kind of first steps if you are trying to eat a little bit healthier, or just have pizza from time to time. It's all about portion control and figuring out ways to make it fit for you and your diet. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. That's gonna wrap it up for me in this one. I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Peace, y'all.